Hello, and welcome to the first session. Yes, this is the first course of how to take your idea and create a revenue generating business. So today in this first video, we're going to talk about what to do with your idea. So if you remember the story about Sophia in a previous video, then you know that Sophia had an idea and she just didn't know what to do with it. Well, there's a few things you're going to learn today on what to do with that idea. So number one is first, share it with some people. It may be counterintuitive for you, but you need to share it with others. Here's a story. I hear this all the time, and it just so rarely happens that ideas are stolen. But you really need to share your idea. I mean, here's a story of a gentleman who came up to me actually at an event and said, "Hey, Mike, I've seen what what you do. I'd love to talk to you about my idea, but I can't share you any details." I'm like, okay. So I already knew, what was going on, right? So really, the thing is the reason I tell you that story is because if you can't share the story, you can't share your idea, then no one can give you any feedback, right? I couldn't give feedback. No one can give you proper feedback. So the reason why people, and for instance, this guy thought it was so important is because he thought everyone was going to steal his idea. The likelihood of someone stealing your idea is so small. It's so small. I mean, it does happen, don't get me wrong, but it's so small that someone's going to take your idea, especially at these early stages. Because really what normally happens when ideas get taken is because, one, they're such a great idea that it's so obvious, or two, that the idea has gotten some traction. It's already gotten some customers, or already, you already know that it's going to be successful. So it's already down the road a little bit. When you're talking about your idea from, like, you just had it and you've got some sketches on a napkin, for instance, I mean, that is so far away from being anything that the likelihood of someone taking the idea and running with it is so small because, one, no one has the passion for the idea that you have. It's your idea. It's probably experienced by you. You have the problem and you solved it in a certain way. So no one has that passion and that desire like you have. Even you talk to somebody that's very, very technically able to do it or has all the resources to do it, the likelihood of them doing it is very small. So go back to the idea of go ahead and share your idea with others. I'm not saying you need to share it and put it on a billboard and tell everyone you know, but start sharing it with people, because here's what happens when you share your idea. One, people start realizing that you have an idea, and when you're asking for help about the idea, like, hey, I would like to meet someone that knows how to do X or someone that knows how to do Y, then those people can help you find those other people. And two, they'll give you feedback of what doesn't quite make sense with them, right? So again, every idea that's ever been designed is never perfect right out of the gate. It always gets changed along the way. Facebook didn't start as Facebook. Airbnb didn't start as Airbnb. All those things tweaked and changed along the way. Your idea is going to be no different. So you need to understand that you need feedback so you know what to change. What I tell every entrepreneur is, I can hear you, I see your idea, I understand your idea. What I don't know is I don't know where it's wrong. But what I do know is I know it's wrong somewhere. So your idea is no different. There's tweaks that need to be made for it to be perfect and have a perfect product market fit, is what they talk about, in the startup world. So again, share your idea. It's okay. Rarely is someone going to take your idea. So share it with your friends. Share it with your friends or friends. Okay, that's step one. Step two is, once you get some feedback from some people, what I would do is talk to some strangers. Now, and I'm talking about people that are not invested in you. They're not like relatives. They're not friends of friends. They're just basically blatant strangers. So, go to coffee shops, talk to people, at a sporting event, go to a networking event and just talk to people about your idea. All those things, because all you're trying to do is get feedback from a kind of initial responses from, hey, I'm working on this problem. How does that sound? That's the kind of feedback you need. But you need it for some strangers. And I'm not saying hundreds. I'm saying at this stage, this early stage of the idea stage, just like if you can talk to 5 or 10 people, strangers you don't know, and get some feedback, that's going to be helpful. Because here's what you want. You want to know if this is an idea is a go or no go. That's what you want to know as soon as you can get it. Because the quicker you can kind of put the idea out of your mind because it's just not going to work, the better. And again, most ideas are wrong when you start, so you're going to have to tweak it anyway. So that's the steps that you need to go through. So let's assume now that you've talked to your friends, people like it, you've talked to some strangers, they seem to like it. So now you're like, okay, what do I need to do with this? Do I need to protect it? Do I need to, file a patent? What do I need to do? Okay, so the next step is talking to, professionals, right? Professionals meaning maybe some people that have had experience with this type of product. That would be great if you could talk to someone that you really kind of knew, or maybe someone could introduce you to that you could trust. That's a great way. But then secondarily, what I would do is I would schedule an appointment with an intellectual property attorney. And most of these attorneys will do a half-hour session for free. So it's not like you need money for this, but you need to bring in some documentation and things about your idea. So that's the next step. Before you take and walk into that meeting, what you need to do is do some research on your idea. So what research is going to USTPO.gov, which is the Patent and Trademark Office, right? So do some research there on, hey, is there a similar idea than what you're talking about? Is there something that's close? Maybe there's already a trademark for the name that you want. So do some real research on that, right? And I don't mean like 15 minutes of research. Spend an hour or 2 hours on the computer and go look all through Google, through 2 or 3 or 4 pages of Google. Go to the USTPO website. Do real research on this to see what's out there with your idea. Okay, that's really important. And you need to do this before you walk into an intellectual properties attorney's office, because you need some information that says, hey, I haven't found anything like this, right? Because what is the worst thing, and I've heard this happen so many times, the worst thing is you walk in the IP's office and the attorney literally just does a search on Google and finds the same idea. Like, that is horrible. That's just you not doing your homework. So do your homework before you walk into that meeting. I want to tell you, okay, there's 3 things when we talk about intellectual property, copyrights, trademarks, and patents, because those are the 3 things that you can do. So a copyright, let me just tell you exactly what a copyright is. And you can do a copyright pretty easily for around $100. They're not expensive to do, right? So so that's what you can copyright, right? So again, that's just one thing. The second thing we're talking about is trademark. So a trademark is anything that distinguishes the goods of your company from another qualifies. So the item must be used in commercial selling to obtain protection from the laws. You have to be using the trademark to have protection of the trademark laws. They lasted 10 years, and they cost about $250 for a state trademark, and then federal is like $375, and then you go up. So you should assume that you're going to spend around $250, $300 to do a state copyright, because you can do this yourself. Pretty easy to do on your own. Or a federal trademark is going to cost you closer to $400 or $500. So again, you can do all that yourself, no problem whatsoever. And then last is, of course, the patent. And we're just going to talk patent in general, but most people file utility patents, but there's also design patents. But I'm just going to talk just in patents in general. So anyone can create a patent, right? So in general, this really means that they satisfy these requirements. The invention must be novel. That's great. The invention must have some utility or usefulness. Makes sense too. And then the invention must not be obvious. So it can't be just an obvious thing, right? So that's what the patent has to have for the idea. So the idea in itself can't be patented, but the idea has to be embodied into something. So the idea must be embodied into one or more of the following: a process or method, such as a new way to manufacture concrete; a machine, something with moving parts or circuitry; a manufactured article, such as a tool or another object that accomplishes a result with few or no moving parts, such as a pencil. Makes sense. A new composition, such as a new pharmaceutical drug. And then here's what a lot of people don't understand: a asexually reproduced and new variety of plant that can be patented as well. So that is the three things. And a patent will cost you anywhere from $3, probably on the low end, up to you could spend $20,000-$25,000 patent, but I've spent less than 10 several times. So a good general range is 3 to 10. You could do a lot of this on your own. You can't do it probably all on your own because you want an IP attorney to actually kind of check what you're doing to make sure you're doing a good job. So you don't want to kind of do this all on your own. Because you do need an IP attorney to make sure that you've done it correctly, because there's drawings that are involved and lots of things are involved. So again, a cost is somewhere between 3 and 10 as a general rule. And again, it's not a perfect line, but that's a good general rule. So that's your choices on when we talk about intellectual property. Now, let me make sure that to be clear here, not everything needs to be patented or trademarked or copyright. Again, it's very easy to copyright, very easy to trademark things. You can do that on your own. And I would strongly suggest that if you have something that should be done that way. Of course, a trademark's easy. If you have something that's unique, a logo, etc., you can, of course, trademark that thing. Again, it's not requirement to move forward. And here's the important thing here, guys. When you're at this idea stage, again, you're early on, you don't know a lot of details about your idea yet. So at this stage, what I highly recommend is do not spend any dollars on legal until you have a really good idea that the product or service concept that you have is actually going to be something. So at these early stages, there's a lot that has to happen for it to be successful still. So don't go run out and get a patent. I've seen it happen, and it's normally a waste of money, because here's what happens if you file the patent right away. Again, as I've said, most ideas change and iterate along the way, so they have to change to meet the demand of the customer. So don't patent your first idea, because it's probably not going to be correct. You really want to wait and talk to some customers and get further down the road before you patent something, because it's just going to change. So again, be smart with your dollars. Don't think you have to patent to talk to people, because remember, when the patent process, you file a provisional patent first, which gives you 1 year before you actually have to file the utility patent, which is a full patent. So a provisional patent gives you 1 year to kind of basically decide whether you want to file a full patent. And you can file the provisional patent you can do a lot of that on your own and probably get that done for maybe even $1,000, $1,500 if you do a fair amount of that work on your own. And there's some law firms that actually will do a kind of a reduced rate on those provisional patents. So again, all these things, do not spend money until you have a pretty sure idea that your product is going to go somewhere. I just can't tell you how many stories I've heard, and friends of mine have gone through, and they just wasted $5,000 or $10,000 or $15,000 on something that's just completely not important at this stage of the game. Okay, so here, let's go over what we learned in this video. 1, share your idea to get feedback so you know what to change in your idea. You got to start to get some iterations and understand that. When you're sharing your idea, don't be so afraid to share the details that someone else can't understand it, right? Because that's the key. They have to understand it. That's all we got today. Make sure you do that research first, and make sure you talk to an attorney that's a smart person that can kind of give you some real quality feedback for that. So thanks a lot for watching. We'll see you in the next video. Take care. Bye-bye.